Hi everybody, Bob Wilkie here, and what we're going to be covering today is the first topic in the top 10 things that are going to help you make a more successful hockey player. This one is called understanding, and it's probably one of the most important ones. It's a level that we just didn't have when I was growing up. We were going through so many things as I was trying to achieve, and Bantam was really when it started to start. Um, the criticism, the fighting, the cattiness between the parents and in the locker room was probably the biggest thing. Was in the locker room for me as a kid. There was a couple of kids that came from other communities, and we all joined forces. And what happened was, the egos, even at 13 years old, can be pretty powerful. And there was a lot of jostling for leadership in that locker room, and it caused huge problems. And taking a step back and all the years, they say looking in the rearview mirror, sometimes is a bad thing or a good thing. And I found it to be a really helpful thing in this one, because what I found was that, us kids that were in that room, we really had the personalities of our parents and the things that were going on outside the locker room, during the game. And I remember Dad being so frustrated, on the ride home. It was just nuts. The conversations that we were having were all about what the other parents were saying and how everybody was, cutting me down, saying I wasn't good enough and all those other things. And I remember him just being livid about the experience. And there was a time when I actually said, if this is the way it's going to be, then I don't want to play anymore, or Mom's going to drive me from now on, or I'll find my own ride, because it just got to be too much. One of the things you need to understand if you're going to have a kid in any kind of competitive sport, and we're talking about hockey here, but really it can apply to anything. There's huge pressure that starts to mount because everybody wants to be that guy or girl. Everybody wants to be the one who hits the home run or scores the winning goal, that center of attention. And of course, we all want that for our kids, because that's how we hold our kids in regard for the most part. So the level of understanding really has to increase. And what I'm talking about here is the understanding that you as a team, and I'm talking about your family, that needs to be the most important part, aspect of the development of the young player, is that everything on the home team is very good, very confident, we're very secure, even though things aren't going quite right. Maybe the coach isn't playing you with who you think you should be playing, Dad, Mom. You don't need to voice that. It's a fact. It's what's going on. And the more that we complain about that, well, the more we get stuck in a situation. And in this game, what you really have to look for is solutions. It's like going up against a tough defense. A good coach has to come up with a way that we're going to crack that defense. What we have to do is we have to create that level of understanding so that there's no pressure. There's no stress. There's no anxiety for these young people, because they don't have enough experience. They're kind of relying on us as the adults. And whether you're a coach or whether you're just a parent, there's several things that you can be doing to help them understand the process. Not every coach is going to agree or see what you have. That's just a fact of life. Last year you were on the first line and you scored a bunch of goals. This year the coach saw something different and you're playing on the third line. Now, again, we're labeling things here. We've got first line and we've got third line, but what you need to understand is they're all a very important aspect of a team that's going to be successful. Just like mom, dad, brother, sister, you all have your roles to play. And when we raise that level of understanding to really make it clear in our minds that it doesn't always quite work out in our favor, but what we have to do is we have to be strong and we have to really see what's deep down inside us. The experience that the game provides teaches you so much about your character, helps you develop so much about your character. But a lot of times the lessons are lost because we don't have that level of understanding. It is the way it is. And how are we going to be the best that we can be in it so that we can advance? And that's the key. I see so many kids struggle because they make a mistake and right away, they look up in the stands and they see the disappointment on dad's face or on mom's face, and they know that that's going to be the brunt of the conversation on the way home. So they stop performing. And we need to have that level of understanding is, maybe he's not feeling up to par today, but he's not going to tell you that because you're going to kind of give him the gears on the way. Well, why aren't you? Well, I told you to go to bed earlier. They learn how to develop defense mechanisms. We need to raise the level of understanding that, we're all working towards the same thing here. And some days are going to be absolutely fantastic and some days are going to be right around par. And that's okay. What we need to make sure is that when those days are around par is that we're looking for answers and things that we maybe could do better the next time. There's a book and it's on my bookstore here on the website, and it's called The Four Agreements. And one of those agreements is always do your best. And what Don Miguel in that book talks about is that some days our best is absolutely off the charts phenomenal. Someday our best, no matter how hard we try, it is, like I say, par at best. We need to have that understanding that, everybody is pulling their weight. And some days we could all be a little bit better. But today we need to make sure that we're understanding that this is a game. And this game is to teach us the life lessons that we need so that when we get on with it, well, we're going to be okay. We've learned the valuable lesson of fitting into a locker room where it didn't quite fit at first. You found your place. You fit into your role. And it's that level of understanding that's going to make the transitions that they have throughout the rest of their lives, and even in school, and when they start to have a family of their own. There's a lot of things that they can really use by having this level of understanding in how to be the best, and understanding that everybody has their own opinion and they're completely entitled to it, even if you think it's wrong. Again, we don't need to go back to the labels of first line and third line, just like we don't need to use the labels of right and wrong. It's a fact. It just is. It's something that's going on, and how are we going to come up with a solution so that we're good, we're strong, we're comfortable, we're confident, and then at the end of the day, you know what, we're all going to bed feeling good instead of having all these self-doubt, worries, anxiety, stress, and being upset. This game is not meant to do that, but that is what is created because our level of understanding isn't where it needs to be. So the first one, the most important one in this top 10 list, is the level of understanding. You need to raise yours. You need to make your son or daughter aware that there's going to be some challenges, and what we're going to do is we're going to meet these challenges head on, and sometimes it's going to be easy to get over them and sometimes it's not, but we're going to keep moving forward, and that's what a successful team does, and that's what a leader on a team does. And as we go through, you're going to see how this all ties into great leadership. My name's Bob Wilkie, and I'm from I Got Mine. I can't tell you how much I appreciate you paying attention for a couple of minutes. I hope that it's really helped. I know that it's really helped others. And if you can work on it and start to work on it within your team atmosphere, I know good things are going to come your way. I look forward to seeing you in the next session.